Bald, bald, bald. Hi, welcome back to a Let's Talk production. So, an issue that we've been having lately is that we've been switching up cameras. I purchased a Z1 of the Canon series, and then I also purchased the GoPro. Now, I've tested both of them, and the GoPro's absolutely garbage. That's why I couldn't put it out these past two videos. This being the second one it will affect. I don't want y'all to miss any more content, so I just took those ones out for this recording. So there's going to be choppiness because for some reason they messed up and they were burnt in the oven. Thank you. So basically what's going to occur instead is we're just going to have one on this video. There's going to be an area where it does cut out, and then there's an area where we have a cutout at the end where there's going to be no footage because Christina's camera died. So I just put in random footage. It's just us on the other podcast. Sorry for all the inconveniences. I've been trying to find and do different cameras and get us, better production value for y'all. So I apologize, and we will have more videos coming out soon. In the meantime, make sure you put your hashtags King Neptune in this video, and we'll have a lot more coming out for y'all. I'm sorry for the inconveniences, but we'll get it rolling, baby. Let's go.
Welcome back to the podcast, guys. I'm Christina, and this is my brother Spencer, and we made this podcast to just show that communication is key in all aspects of life. If there's anything that we talk about on this episode that you'd like to hear more of, or something that you don't hear us talk about that you would like our opinion on, you can always let us know in the comments below. So sorry, guys. I forgot my script. Did somebody call it out to me? No, just kidding.
Come on, man.
If you're watching this on YouTube, you can let us know in the comments below. You can also let us know on our social media. We're also on Spotify, so if you're taking your daily walk, or you're in the Big Brother house getting evicted next to the Honey Nut Cheerios bee, just put those headphones in and you can turn us on, listen to us on Spotify, yip yap in your ear.
Yeah, you can have some buzz going on in your ear, also on iTunes, iHeart Radio, and anywhere that you listen to podcasts on. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff coming. I mean, I really mean that this time. There's a lot of stuff coming. So yeah, definitely check us out. There's going to be a lot of different links below for you to look at. As you know, we change up our stuff every 10 podcasts, so you will see that our logo has changed, our intro and outro will change. It should be pretty juicy. It's a little bit longer of an intro this time, but it will be all right, all good. Just bear with it if you want. You could skip past like the 20-second marker and go straight into our intro about bees shoving knives into each other to steal honey, but I'm not going to reveal any more information yet. So yeah, let's get into it today.
By those lights, all I can see when I look away is just the remnants of a light.
Well, what's good is that you're not typically directly looking at that camera unless it's for the intro part. I am deciding whether or not we'll keep that, but yeah, they are kind of blinding. They are on the highest setting too.
Bright lights in the big city.
NYC.
Oh, dang.
That is the big city. At least that's all I was known of. Or the Big Apple.
I wonder if they actually have any apples there.
Oh, I think so. They have like a metallic one, I would think. We can already look that one up because I am curious.
No, I meant like apples to eat. Not
oh, like applesauce, like crushed by somebody's feet. Okay.
This isn't Penelope from Barbie as Rapunzel.
Are you kidding me? Do you not realize that Rapunzel's braids are made of apples? Thank you.
So her hair is just apples?
Let's see. AI overview. Yep, that's the nickname for it. We need images. Oh, what is this? Oh, this is at the New York Mets Stadium. Okay, so technically they do. That looks fake though.
Real apple.
I need crushed applesauce with the feet. Let's look at images. Oh, here we go.
Wow.
Oh wait, this might be it. There we go. I was like, they had to have had. Oh yeah, I gotta zoom it in for the viewers because I always forget it's not gonna be large enough.
That's not real either. You can't eat that.
That's not the point, ma'am. Damn, it really messed up the photo. But also, there's ornaments over here too. What are these for?
It might have been during Christmas time when they took that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, these people look cold, so that's probably the case.
These people look cold.
Yeah, shiver me tippers. Um, yeah, that's what it looks like. So yeah, confirmed there is a Big Apple in the Big Apple. It would make sense, especially since his nickname is from the 1920s, that would be the case. We have not been to New York before.
No.
Yeah.
We should go
When should we plan that trip?
tomorrow.
Oh, day after tomorrow. And then a snowstorm hits and then we have to be in bunkers.
Gosh. Do you ever I've been doing this recently, but wake up in the morning and think about all of the things that you're grateful for?
Oh, you're talking about affirmations.
I guess technically, but I just mean being grateful for being alive, for food, for water, for shelter. 'Cause there's a lot of people that don't have those things, especially there's so many horrible things going on in the world right now. I don't know if you heard about all of the stuff happening in Gaza right now.
I hear from other individuals. I don't specifically look at all of that. This is where I think a little bit of the magic trick is that we think the worst thing's going on over there, but there's actually more genocide that's already been happening in other places that we don't talk about. Like, for instance, did you know that in Africa they have more slavery now than the United States did back when slavery was a thing? When they had the slave trade?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So that's what's being covered up from the big thing. It's not to say that, oh, this is a lesser thing now, but yeah, there's definitely terrible things upon all sides. It's just that's the thing that's getting the attention rather than the deeper, more inside stuff that's occurring over there. With all of that occurring in areas that still don't have coverage or that I am not even aware of. But that was one that I was like, wow, that's not talked about. But I mean, there's a lot more things getting involved over there and always has been. So yeah, when I think of being grateful for things, there was a period of time where I did actually write it down. It's when back in 2020 actually is when I did that. And I think it was during COVID, but it wasn't because of COVID. It was just in general that in my own mental health, that's what I wanted to do. Because I realized the individuals around me, they're very important. And the things that are around me are very important. And the luxuries in life are very important too. And I see nowadays with individuals that are showing off their cars, showing off their women. And that's just, it's not real in a manner. Those aren't things that I would want to flex in a manner if I were to. It would be other things that are more valuable, even if I would want to flex in some sort of manner. I would want individuals to have those same things that I do, living under a house in an area that they would want to. But I have the perspective too of those individuals that do live in those areas that have the smaller communities that may live in huts and not have AC and stuff. I actually think that there's an enjoyment that they still have from that, and they wouldn't want the newer technology.
Possibly. I think it's more those people in those areas, it's not just about not having the AC, but not having food or not having clean water that they want and that they should get. And this is the thing that I never understand or never understood about celebrities is they have so much money. They make more money in their lifetime than they could ever reasonably use. Obviously they spend all that money on 10 cars even though they're traveling all the time and they're never going to drive them, or a mansion with 20 rooms that most of which aren't even being used. And it's so crazy to me because there's so many people that are struggling that don't even have basic needs like food and water, and they could easily help those people out without even really affecting their lives at all by losing that money. And they don't. And they don't even speak up about these things either. They stay silent about them. And it's there's a celebrity that recently was talking about how, oh, you guys think that celebrities have all this power and we don't. And the thing is they may not have the physical power to actually put laws into motion, but their voice helps get things going and helps things happen. If we remember the last presidential election, every celebrity was posting every day about register to vote, your voice matters, your vote matters, it's gonna count. Ariana Grande head count at all of her concerts to like register people to vote. Like everybody was posting about it every day. And then the presidential election happened and they got who they wanted into office. And so that just goes to show, like, although they didn't have the power to put into law, like, their voice was powerful enough to get everybody to come together to make something happen, to make change happen. So I just don't like that celebrities sit back or think that them speaking up about things just doesn't matter.
When it comes to the primary election, it doesn't affect it, but where it does is local elections. Your simple community base on who you elect going in is important because they're the individuals who hire the people in House of Representatives and your senators. And those people have the power to elect the president. So who you put into power there becomes important. But it seems like very few people, if you think about it, because you have 2 senators in each state and you have representatives based off of population. So it changes all the time depending on where people move. Texas is probably going to have more now because we have a lot more people who have came in here. But those are the people who are going to be voting for the president. So yes, we have a populist vote, but that does not matter. Because we're not a part of a democracy in that manner. Because we're not just a democracy. We're a democratic republic. So there's that aspect of voting matters, but not in the primary elections to go actually vote for that individual. And this is where I think their use of power when it comes to celebrities is actually dictated by the higher up people that are telling them that they should go do these things. Because ultimately those don't matter at the end of the day. Who you vote for president does not matter. And they talk about that. Even in school, they talk about it in government, the electoral college. There's a reason why they explain that because there's a system to it. There's a hierarchical system. And you are a bottom person trying to vote for the top person. You're not going to be heard. Just like in a job, you're not going to be heard at bottom level stuff where you're just a regular employee trying to talk to somebody in higher up management, even the CEO. You're rarely going to even talk to that individual. Same within real life. You're hardly going to ever see the president unless you're a diehard fan or you happen to be at one of the conventions that they're at or you go to something. Like speaking to them is very difficult. You can't just phone them up and be like, hey man, you guys have croissants at the house? There's a process to that all. So when they do that, I think that's still a part of them trying to get money from other sources, like their sponsorships may be pressuring them to do that because their sponsors want somebody elected. Because ultimately, capitalism is a game. And the money is what talks, ultimately. Money is what moves those things. And it's not in every community because not every community is necessarily caring about the money aspect of it. Some are more spiritual where you have a community of people in church who are helping people on the ground in their community doing that. Or the church could be doing the opposite as well too and just taking money from the community and buying those nice cars and houses, which we've talked about before on the podcast with one of the church members doing that. And that's something that can occur in any community. So overall, yes, I agree with the notion that celebrities should diversify the money, but I think the problem comes down to is they just don't want to give up the power and they're willing to do anything to make sure that they stay in power. Same with government officials, it's the same idea. And then when they lose it, they're going to keep trying to grasp onto it until it's all gone. But then you lose the integrity of yourself. You've lost yourself now in that whole ordeal instead of being your authentic self and being like, I can step away from this. I can move down from power. I can move on to the next thing. But that's the beautiful thing about America is that we elect the president every 4 years. So it's not always the same person. We're limited to 2 terms. So the max that they can do is 8 years, which is good because in Chinese astrology, enemy years come every 6 years. So if they don't do the second term then, but they have the second term at a different time where it's not interacting with that, that's good in terms of that energy specifically. Again, Chinese astrology is not everything, but at the same time, you don't want somebody leading for a lifetime because then they get tyrannical because they have all the power and they know that they're not going to lose it.
But isn't that like, we elect a new president every 4 years, but the people that are in Congress have been there since the freaking dawn of time.
No, not correct. So they elect the House of Representatives every 2 years and senators every 6 years.
But there's still a lot of the same people in there.
Right, because it's not pointed at. We don't have elections for different people because they have their community that is backing them. But again, we're not focused on that. We're only focused on the big prize. It's kind of like the money aspect too. Is people only think about the money because it's capitalism rather than I want to do my dream thing, but it's going to require me to do all this other stuff. I want to do a get rich quick scheme. So they'll find the closest thing that they can do, which they'll either get scammed. And I'm saying this from experience too, because I wanted to do this as well. I wanted to gain money very fast. But it's the same with life. Are you running the race or are you running the marathon? Because it's multiple combinations of things that build over time. That's progress. And you go up and down during it. It shouldn't be, I got $1 million. You're going to lose it just as fast too. Because if you don't know how to take care of money, then how are you going to spend it well? You're not. You're going to be like, I want to go do all these pleasures. I'm going to buy 1 million powdered donuts. Like you're going to have people who have these crazy thoughts like that. So that's where the power is important. The person who does have it, it's important to wield it properly because you can have all of these things, but if you are like, oh, those things don't matter anymore and you throw away your morals and values because somebody's intimidating you, you want to enjoy this stuff because you've worked so hard to get there, or you just don't, or some other reason. There's so many different reasons, but those main reasons are why it falls apart because you lose your authenticity the more that you go into power if you are not true to yourself. And those people around you are going to influence you to do otherwise because they are powerful too and they want to stay in power. And I am talking about companies specifically, like how we talk about monopolies in a manner, especially in the phone industry where that's becoming a problem. In these other industries where it happens. And then somebody steps up to the plate and is like, hey, we can't be doing that, whether it is the government or a new company comes in to be competition because they're providing something else. So it's a multi-layer process and it's difficult to navigate, but just like it is in life too, it's hard to navigate through. It's hard to get to what you dream of because there's so many obstacles and distractions from technology to family to friends to your job. There's in strangers. There's so many different things that are going to inhibit you from that. And that's where you have to look inward and be like, what are my current habits? How am I using my time throughout my day? Are they good or bad for me? Are they helping toward that progress or hindering it? And that's where you have to ultimately question yourself. If that thing is not working, am I willing to change? And this is a beautiful quote. Be flexible with your methods, but determined with your goals. And I want to say there was another word besides determine. It's basically where you do not change or alter toward that goal. And I have it written down in my phone, but it is true. Because if you do the same thing over and over again, that's what makes you go crazy because you're like, I'm still in the same cycle. I'm still doing the same thing. I'm still not getting where I want to be. But the more that you change the way that you approach it, the more that those things come to you. Because in the way you are finding out what your authenticity is within yourself and by your environment and how that environment influences you and who should be within your environment too. Because if you have a bunch of people who are like, you can't do that, you're going to become very unmotivated. And it's not saying that you can move past it. That might be fuel for you, but not everybody's geared the same way. And that's where you have to question, who is in my environment and is it a healthy relationship? Are they trying to build? And it might not be toward the same thing. Like we're ultimately going to do two different things in life, although we are very similar. But what you want to do is different from what I want to do. So how we get there is going to be different, and it should, because your authenticity is different from my authenticity. But that's what draws people in, because not everybody on this podcast is going to be like, I love this Spencer person, or I love this Christina person. They could hate both of us. Yeah, motherfuckers. But they can hate both of us or love both of us, or just love one of us and hate one of us individually. So that's what is important with that, is that you pay attention to the community that you're around and question, am I actually helping them? Like, a big issue is, like, if you care about climate change, why are you still using gas cars then? If you're the one that's avidly fighting, avidly going out and doing those things, why are you still using a car? Because you know that it goes against it. Why are you using plastics if you know that burning them is just going to do that when you throw them away? And that's where the questioning comes. It's like, they want luxury, but at the same time, they advocate for something that is supposed to be better in society. And that's the issue, is it doesn't align with your own values. So therefore, you are living a lie by doing that, because you are not acting. You are not actually doing the actions behind it. And that's where it becomes a problem. Because again, the distractions happen, the environment happens, and people are not perfect in a manner. But you can align yourself with those values that you do believe and then go toward them, even if you have opposition, which you always will, because not everybody likes the same thing. So that's kind of the perspective of how I'd answer that question, especially with celebrities, because they got a lot of people in their ear.
They should tell them to get out or get their ears cleaned.
I would say, like, as you said on the other podcast, better not get roaches in your ear.
Better not watch out for them.
Yeah, get those creepy crawlies
Somebody
in there.
brought bugs into the apartment, though. Literally invited them in. He sent them out an invite, party invitation, everything.
I said, hey, yo, I know that we were chilling at this place, but my crib tonight, ? 8 p.m. sharp. We got cheese puffs.
Also, make sure you invade every room in the apartment.
Yeah, especially the one with that Trudy Dinkelbergs. AKA you.
Something that we do, guys, which I don't know if you've caught on, but we like to call each other random names. Like, I'll come home and be like, hey, Patricia.
I was totally offended because she knows that Patricia was my first wife.
Are you married?
No. We've already discussed this. I've had 3 marriages.
Let's see the proof. Let's see the marriage certificate.
I showed my own birth certificate on live screen. They're like, we got him, boys.
We got his parents' name. We got his exact date of birth.
We got his sock size.
Wait, like at birth or now?
Irrelevant.
Both.
Both, damn. The bugs did come in though, and they stayed on my backpack. And it was a very sad story.
They stayed on my back. I was like, are they like
Ants go marching, one, hurrah, hurrah. So I put one outside because when the bugs come in here, we have 2 different approaches. She kills them automatically. Me, I like putting them back out into nature.
So they can come back in here.
They do not come back in here. Although, here's a story that happened, which is kind of sad. It's very hot. And I put one out by the little bushes area. And I thought he would be okay. He tried to come back up here because he died right outside the door. I'm like, he knew that this was his place to be.
That's why you should have just put him out of his misery in the first place.
No. Because he had a journey. He got to see more of the world. And I think about this with animals too, with dogs. Like, dogs are always caged up in this area. They can't see outside if you don't go outside. And if you don't treat them well, then that's what's going to happen. They only see one area most of their life, whereas we get the ability and freedom to travel. Again, we're on different hierarchical levels. It's just, if I had an animal, I would be going out with it. Like when we had...
I would be going out with it.
They caught it on
dates. Having dinner with it. We're going bowling next weekend.
It'd be like Princess and the Tramp, that spaghetti noodle.
We'll be looking at you like, what the hell?
What's going on with him? I'm like, dude, what the fuck is your problem? This is my wife. This is my second wife.
Don't tell the first or the third one.
Yeah, they might get a little spooky. I don't know what that would mean. They show up on...
A little spooky. They show up as Cruella DeVille. Actually, they show up as the Dalmatians.
Hell yeah, it's on Halloween too, of course. Make it spookier. They just barge in my house with a fucking cleaver.
They're like, it's Halloween.
It's Halloween, I need blood. But yeah, that one followed me up and died by the house, outside the door, I should say. And I'll tell you this story because this happened too. So it goes back to what you were first talking about with being grateful for things. So one thing that I've done is I started meditating again because it's literally the best healing property that you can do because you go back to the basic necessity of air. So when you are breathing, you are releasing all of those toxins out of you because your blood has air in it, so it will flow and you'll naturally get it out. So what happened was I was meditating outside and there was a wasp nest that was out there. And the day before, it was either that or 2 days previously, and our brother was here for this as well too, I took a broom and I knocked it down. And these are like greenish blue jacketed ones. They're definitely like a new breed. And I think what happens with those individuals, that what happens is they spray them in that they create different colors because roaches, whenever you use pesticides, they have different like weird color coats afterwards. It's not the same one.
They turn into a rad roach.
Yeah, they turn into a rad roach and then you get radiation from eating them. So what happened was I was meditating outside and it was at night too. And they're really good about knowing who did it, like who messed with them, because they're very territorial and they can be very aggressive. And I'm going to teach you some crazy things about them to where you're going to be like, okay, now I got this perspective. Now I won't be all allergic to them. Ah!
I don't think that stops your body from being allergic to
No,
them.
I didn't know. But again, we're very similar in this regard with that. You've just never been stung by one, so you're scared. I'm not scared of that because I have been stung. Now, I was stung during this meditation, and I felt him land on me too. And what happened was I was probably like 4 minutes into it, is my guesstimation. And what ended up happening is he was crawling on my collarbone right here. And he was dragging his stinger across my skin because I had felt him sting like 3 or 4 times. Now,
You just let him sit there and beat you up. That's like going out to a bar, getting in a fight, and letting the person continuously punch you as you just stay on the ground.
with a smile.
Hi, bud. Keep going.
And well, that's the whole thing about meditation, is to release and let go of the things that are around you. I also was testing the pain tolerance.
Okay, so you're like that guy that goes out and finds bugs to sting or bite him so that he can show you his reaction of him nearly dying. You're trying to get in a partnership with him. Hit him up.
Dab it up, baby. No, because I'm not deliberately going out and asking to be stung.
Apparently you did, because you knocked his nest down and then you're out there meditating knowing his ass is going to find you.
Good. I didn't think about that when I first went into meditation. I didn't think he was going to come over there because the wasp nest is like at least like 10 feet that way. And I'm like meditating on a mat over here, but it was because I had done that and they recognized it. That's what was happening. It was getting me right here. And I just pushed him off after like the 4th time because I'm like, okay, this is just annoying now. But the idea is like, can you stay within that range of yourself to disperse the energy? Because when he landed on me, I can feel that I was getting tense because I knew that it was a wasp that landed on me without even seeing that it was. Because I could just tell. And I knew that it confirmed it was because I was getting stung multiple times. I was like, yep, it has to be a wasp because bees only can sting once. And other things landing on me, probably not, because we just don't have this type of creatures over here. So once that had occurred, he didn't come back. And I didn't open my eyes either. I just pushed him off and then I just went back to meditating. And he didn't bother me again because he took his revenge on me. Which it might have been a female because females can survive through the winter. They're also the only ones that can sting.
It's summer.
They can, I know, but they can survive through the winter. And they're the only ones that can sting specifically. So I actually looked up, I was like, what is the symbolism to this? Like, why was I like stung by the wasp?
You knock down their nest.
Well,
knock down their home. That was why she was coming back and being like,
yes.
"Here, bud."
Yes, and then we played patty cake with our stingers, okay? So I was looking at the meaning of that in like symbolism, like what is it meant, what does a wasp symbolize? And then it would bring up like stinging principles. Well, there's a lot of things that it describes a wasp as, which I'll pull it up on screen here in a second, but the main thing that the takeaway that it was throughout multiple of the websites was when they sting, you need to take action on what you're doing. Like you've had all these different thoughts and all of these different things occurring, it's time to take action. You know what you need to do. And I was like, that's interesting that that was the case, because I've always questioned, as we were talking about earlier, like I would fall into those money pits of like, oh, but I would want to make money, like, you know, on stocks or sports betting and all these areas. And it's not that I can't, it's just what my purpose is, again, is community, is communication. And it's definitely with this podcast. So I thought, I was like, okay, I need to learn how to do things differently, change my methods in the way that we approach it. And that's what I've been doing like since that had occurred. And it wasn't just that was occurring, it's just it made me choose a decision, because my goal this year is to be having that financial freedom. And I think in the way of me creating these videos and doing these things and researching and getting better at video editing and Photoshop and creating stuff, I think it's going to bring a lot of value, because it won't just be like this part of this section of the channel, but even what you're doing with the sense of what your dream is, which is to be an actress. And it's like, you can step into Hollywood and take down that route and do movies in that sense. And it's not that you can't in a manner, because those are the ideas that you want to do. You want to be a part of TV shows, dramas, these things. But other individuals, even through TikTok, YouTube, and what is arising and how Hollywood is falling with all these different stuff, is creating something outside of that that's possible. And doing this stuff, I could figure out how to make movie films, because I already know what software that they use to do it. I already have a fair amount of video editing experience. It's just I know that I could expand those horizons and actually do those things. And it's not necessarily become the producer, but the person who's doing the effects, the person who's doing the videography to make sure that the shots are right. I don't know what it is. It's not like a super huge passion in a manner. It's just something where I'm like, I can see the importance of it. I can see the importance of being behind the scenes and not doing that. But I wouldn't mind being in films either. I would just prefer to do that because I know how important it is for the viewer to see something. Like in how it catches their attention, in the meaning behind what's happening. Whereas the meaning is going to be created with all the different parts and crews. Like when I went to go see Dune 2, like I said, there was so many people on that list on the credits, and I was just like, that's insane. How many people it takes to get to that point. And I feel like if you could wield multiple aspects of that, you don't need as many people a part of that to create a film of that sort of manner. It's just they push out all these tasks to have like a time limit, or like somebody might not be doing something on one of the days either. So if they had multiple things that they learned, then they can apply those things. So that with the Wasp thing happening, it started sparking this route to take this way of going about it, which is for the viewers, we didn't have a video last week because we have new camera setups, and we were even talking about in this video too, is changing these different aspects has new problems that arise and new things that have to be learned to change and shift. And I'm sure that y'all would understand that easily because it's the back end part, but there's so many different layers that's to it when it comes to having the right lighting, all these different aspects of videography and photography. So we have it now to where we're doing the podcast, and this will be the 30th podcast, and actually getting the clips to be different and adding new things, which I've showed you as well. So going down that route of that one simple thing happening is I thought deeply about it. I was like, that occurred for a reason. Same with the bugs following me in here. There are reasons that these things appear, and we need to be aware of like, what is the symbolism behind that? because there's always a reason. It's like somebody coming into your life, it's like, well, why did they come into my life? Well, there's many avenues. It depends on what that person brought.
Hate.
Love. I thought you were going to say like tyranny next. And I'm like,
Well, yes.
oh. But yeah, you just have to pay attention to what that is. So I was just doing basic research when I was looking up the Wasp symbolism. New beginnings was another one that came up as the beginning and kind of does. Wasp spring in clarity when you were seeking guidance from those who are older. Another thing. So here are some of the things that they said: involvement, order, development, teamwork, construction, challenge, communication, efficiency, fertility, and intelligence. And because they were born in the spring, they symbolize new beginnings. Control over your life, circumstances, evolution, progress, development, and order. So all of these things that I've already been on track for is what has been occurring. So I just looked into that because even within your dreams too, like there's symbolism of animals that come up too. Like I was always bitten by snakes whenever I was younger, and I got past that. I got past that fear of that. So it no longer occurs.
Oh my God. You know, I've never had like a dream where no, there was a dream where a raccoon attacked me, but
just a casual dream.
Just randomly, I think it happened twice in a dream, and I haven't had that dream since. But I typically I don't have things attack me. I don't have like the dream of like I feel like I'm falling, and then like before you hit the ground, like I've never had that, or like almost died and then woke up like that. I've never had a dream where that has happened.
I would want to call those like inner ego deaths is how I kind of see them, because I understand what the ego death is, but those inner ego deaths where you can't do anything about it and your ego is sitting right there and it has to die from either the snake or whatever thing that happens during it. But I've been dreaming a lot recently, and what happens is I had smoked weed for a long period of time, and what happens is it usually brings down dreams in most people. Some it can amplify it, and I've had weird dreams on there too, but I typically don't dream as much. But it's been a long time since I've smoked, so that aspect of my brain building back the dopamine, the serotonin, and the DMT that sits in the pineal gland allows that dreaming to come in. And I've noticed is like when you're really tired, when you know that you've worked and done that, you experience it more is what I've noticed. Both me and our brother have noticed that. But our brother, like he naturally does that just anyway. He's been having dreams consistently, he said, for like the past 2 months. I've been having it consistently for the past 3 weeks to a month of different dreams. And it's not always where I'm dying in them, but it's like different odd ones that I'm like, all right, like what was the meaning of that? Like, what is that trying to say? What was I fending off in the dream realm? Because that's a higher level of consciousness that we do exist in. And those dreams do have some sense of meaning behind it. It shouldn't be always taken literally, like, I got killed by a snake. I'm going to kill every single snake alive.
My gosh. I haven't really been dreaming, or at least I don't remember the dreams. Like, they're not significant enough for me to be like, oh, that happened.
Yeah. That's fair, and it might change over time. It will just depend. I don't know if it's necessarily healthy to dream a lot or healthy to dream less. I think it just depends on the individual's, like, even intuition too, because intuitive people typically dream and daydream consistently. So it really just depends on the individual. But I think that there's still meaning behind it.
I got a present.
What?
So you remember how I told you that we've been getting these random notifications that there's like a package waiting for us, and there's no freaking package. But I got an email the other day that I was expecting a package. It was supposed to be here on Monday, but it got here yesterday. And so I went to go and get it at the mailbox today because I'm like, what the heck is this? Like, I didn't order it.
Oh, that's why you asked me for the mailbox key, which was not squared.
Apparently not. It was round. But I got a package from the jewelry brand that I've been talking about. They sent me a gift, and it was this necklace.
Was it the one that had shouted you out on?
Yeah. If you guys don't know, all the jewelry that I'm wearing is from this small woman-owned brand. It's called Bizu. It's by this woman. Her name is Jessica Lord. She is an actress, and she also has this company. But her whole brand is about like the divine feminine and, you know, like embracing your power as a woman, which I love. And I bought some jewelry from her.
We'll get some close-ups.
And then the necklace as well, which this is my gift that they sent me. But, I'm like, are you gonna be able to put it back in the right place?
Yes.
But, I made a video on my TikTok, basically reviewing her brand. And, her and the brand had commented on the TikTok, and they were so sweet. And I literally did not know that this package was coming at all. Like, they didn't send me a message or anything. But I posted a video today of me opening it and like thanking them, and they commented and they were like, "We're so happy you got our special gift." And yeah, I just want to shout that brand out. If you're looking for some amazing jewelry that's actually really good quality, I highly, highly recommend.
Yeah, it looks like good quality.
Yeah, like it's not. I've had these ones for like 2 weeks now, and like this is like not gonna break off or, you know, easily like tarnish. Like I think it's tarnish resistant. I think you can get them wet and they're not gonna turn your fingers green.
Do you know what the material is?
I don't. I'd have to look it up.
That's fair.
It's on the website, but yeah, no, good quality jewelry. So
yeah, we'll put it in the comment sections below. Yeah, y'all be prepared. Get your jewelry. I'm not a jewelry person, so if you don't like jewelry, I understand.
You can get like a necklace like this.
No.
Oh.
Yeah, not a jewelry person, but that's just my preference. But if you do like jewelry, yeah, definitely a recommendation from yours truly.
But I thought that was so cool. I wasn't expecting that, especially since I'm not like very big on TikTok. Like, I never get over like really 200 views on my videos. I don't even have 100 followers on there yet. Like,
I don't think we do either.
no, definitely not. But yeah, I really was not expecting that. But my TikTok's like, I've been trying to be more active on there and comment on people's stuff. That way, like, you know, people start to follow me back. And I've been getting more comments. Like, I think every video that I've posted so far has at least one comment on it.
That's good. Are you, and you're interacting?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a TikTok bestie now.
Oh.
Yeah. We like both interact on each other's videos anytime that we post. So I'm like, it's amazing.
Yeah, you're building up slowly. You got one person part of your community.
Yeah. I mean, there's quite a few people that will always like my videos and they'll comment from time to time. But yeah, I thought that was so cool. I'm such a small creator, and they have been so sweet, her and her brand, for commenting on my videos and sending me a little gift.
Yeah.
I'm sure, especially as a small business, it's hard, but
Yeah. I mean, she has a fair amount of followers. I'm sure she has enough with all of that, but it is good to keep that within the communication, even with smaller individuals too, because then they feel a part of it. Like just that, like they went out of their way to make a gift for an individual. Like that's a lot. That's what the celebrities should be doing.
yeah.
They should be doing these things where it's like that for the individuals, because then the people, you know, they're glad to be a part of that community because they're spending their time and energy and effort to be like, you know, I like what you're doing, and you even were like, what can I do to help? And you're going out of your way to just talk about this stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, they do have like brands will typically do like PR gifts, but the thing that I just learned about PR gifts, which I did not know was a thing, and I find this so baffling, is that like the company that sends you the PR gift can then like claim it on their taxes to where like you owe taxes for all of the PR gifts that you got throughout the year.
That makes sense. That's kind of like when they're like, you won the lottery, and how much it goes to taxes as well too.
I just like, to me, like when I think about PR, I think of like, it's just a brand like sending you a gift to like basically help like boost them on social media. I never thought about it as like, oh yeah, no, and that's actually like part of your job, and you now owe taxes on it.
Yeah, because gifting, like when you gift a car, it's the same way, is that it has to be paid through tax purposes. But there are definitely ways to not have that done, but it requires you potentially going to court if they wanted to do something about it, which I've been learning a lot about as well when it comes to that. Like using your full name is being traded in the bond market. Like your full capitalized name is being traded.
Like all caps?
All caps. Babies' names too.
What about lowercase?
No. Also, if you went by your first name only as well too, that's what I would suggest going by. Same with your address. Your address, all you have to do is put your city and state that you reside, and then your zip code, and put it in brackets, and then get yourself a P.O. box. But again, it's like, are you willing to like fight against the government that way? I fucking sure am. Like,
You said I'm ready to fucking tussle, dog.
yeah, well, it's because it's your own rights, ultimately. It's your own sovereign rights that we're not aware of. They don't even teach it in school either, because it's being a part of the system. Same with your car too. If you have the MCO, which is like the dealer's like license, it's the actual title for your car, not the certification of title that we always are doing. If you have that, you don't have to register your vehicle if you're not doing commerce, if you're not doing business work. So there's those little things, and that's where the tax thing gets involved too, because there's a system to that as well. But I don't want to give too much information on that yet, because it is somebody's like work that they've been doing, which you have to pay and go into the course of, which I'll shout that one out too, because it's very valuable information that I've learned so far. And they have a university too that they have for it, which is good, because it's stuff that is already a part of the law, and if you took it to the Supreme Court, which only 5% of cases do, you would win. So that means you win in the lower courts too, because you are in the right for your own sovereign rights.
Okay, but let's go back to, you remember how we were talking about earlier about how often people get like reelected or elected?
Right.
What about the Supreme Court? Isn't that
that is lifetime. They're appointed, so they're appointed by the president, which gets voted on in a manner, and then once they I don't know exactly how the voting works for that one. I want to say it's like House of Representatives and Senates do something. Don't quote me on that. But what happens is that person is there in for life, and that's where it becomes a problem when it comes to the courts, and that's what I wonder about too, because ultimately they are the ones who are, you know, looking at the law and deciding, and not everything's lawful that they do, which goes against their own constitution as well, with those own rights that they've done before. Like, for instance, the big thing that happened recently is that a former president has now been pressed with charges.
No, he's a felon now. He was found guilty 34 times. The only thing he's allowed to not do is vote for himself, or vote for the next presidential election, but he can still run for president.
Yeah.
There are felons out there that struggle to get jobs after they get out, but he's still allowed to run for president.
Well, it's interesting because it brings up the aspect of other presidents too, in all of the things that they've done. That's what it set precedent for, is that now any president can be convicted for that stuff. But also, I want to say he also loses gun rights too, because when you're a felon, you cannot have guns.
Things he can't do. Like, he can't travel out of, there's like certain countries he can't travel to. There were so many other things that he couldn't do, but I'm like, if he can't do that, how is he allowed to like run a country? Like, that makes no sense. Also, back when when he was running for election for president, before he became president, you know, he was running against Hillary Clinton, right? He said that Hillary should not be allowed to run for president because of, you know, the email thing that she was having, where he was like, we shouldn't be allowed to, you know, put a person that could potentially be like a felon as president on there. And now he's a felon.
Yeah, this is kind of like everywhere with stuff when it comes to that. And I say this because I've seen I mean, you've probably seen a lot of that side of stuff when it comes to that viewpoint. I've seen a lot of the viewpoints of the side of like how he is not, like the whole trial itself, which we both have probably not followed. Not important. Like I said, I'm not even following Gaza, but I'm somewhat aware of what's going on over there. Because that aspect of stuff, it's not necessarily building what you want to do anyway. It's not that you shouldn't be aware. It's just that a lot of it is the political game of stuff where it's just a lot of stuff to follow. But there are certain things within there where he has a lot of people who do follow him. And there's a lot of things that are going on even in the current administration that is not doing very well with stuff, where ways he has been suited for those things. However, there's aspects of himself, of certain things that he's created, like certain monsters that he's created, where people literally look down on individuals because of what he does. He does the basic tactic of like attacking your character and people finding it funny. Like Horseface, whenever he stated that. That's just attacking the personal character. There's no need for that in a manner. But people found it funny and they got behind him for that. And that's where I'm like, okay, that is not somebody that should be in office for those regards.
That was like his whole Twitter account though. Like every day was just him attacking people for no reason.
Yeah, it was very unnecessary. And this is the side that I absolutely don't like about him as an individual. But if we look past just that portion of that, that's where you get in the nuances of a lot of different things. Like this trial in general, where it was just a lot of things that did not make sense as to why he would be convicted of them. Like you said, 34 counts. Which I guess we can look up what those were, because I'm like, I don't even believe them. I don't even believe some of them that they had. Like the hush money trial with that individual, it was mainly the people that were his advisors are going against him. And that's where they're having information that's false about him come up. Like there's an individual that I follow on Twitter that's named Ariel, and he points out all the flaws of the people that are behind him, which if you want to learn more, follow his account. But he's definitely aimed toward Trump and wants him to be the leader because he sees the flaws in all these other leaders and has stories and background information. It's not that Trump hasn't either, which I've looked at that viewpoint when he's talking about like he's went to trial before for other money cases as well. Things that are not good, like in general, where he's done bad deals. And that is not going to be good looking for him. What were the 34 counts on Trump trial? Please don't give me a bias thing. I just want what it is. Oh, here we go. NPR, I don't trust them, but at least they'll have the answers to what they are. Invoice from Michael Cohen. See, this is already where I don't like, is this I don't trust that individual specifically. And he's in here multiple times. It looks like different vouchers, check stubs, invoices, check stubs that went to him for that. Actually, that seems what it's mostly for. Actually, yeah, every single one is for check stub, invoices, and entries for detailed general ledgers.
Yeah, wasn't the whole trial about money?
Yes. Checks for paid legal services, ledger entries for legal expenses, invoices for legal services. So this is in an account to the porn star, what's her name? I don't even remember her name. But with all of this going behind, it's basically seeing where money's moving to another area. But they did raid his house. The FBI raided his house to take these documents without what? A warrant. Something that was already unconstitutional of doing. You cannot go into somebody's house without a warrant. And they did that, and they raided it and took all the information from that. So that's why I don't agree with this sense of what happened behind this, is that they already did something illegal to him. to start this whole thing.
But it's proven that he was doing illegal things too. They're all doing illegal things.
Okay, but I'm stating, even if he was, right, like a drug dealer, for instance, you can't just barge into his house and be like, he's a drug dealer, just because you might have known a friend that had, gotten stuff from him. You didn't go to the court to go get that warrant, so you can't just enter his house. That's against the law. That's against the constitutional law. So that's why, I'm not saying that he didn't do these things. I would need more information in actually looking into the trial. What I'm stating is they already broke the law to prove that he broke the law. That's the issue. You can't do that when it comes to our law system that we've created. That's the issue behind this entire thing.
But that's the issue with the government too. They're all doing illegal things. Even the current president.
Yeah, yes, they are, but there are certain things that you can't just barge into somebody's area and take their stuff, because then you are a felon for doing that. But we have shown and have given power to these entities, like the three-letter companies, like the CIA, FBI, these areas, because we haven't taken what I was talking about earlier, sovereign rights, and actually realize that they can't do that. Like the CIA, if they were to knock at your door, you don't have to let them in. For any reason.
No tea time.
No tea time, motherfuckers. You can't do that. So that's why I'm sure there's a lot more to this. I don't even know if we'll look into it, honestly, because I'm not too worried about this aspect of stuff. When it comes to stuff like, yes, this is the presidency and stuff, but we can't vote for the individual. We have to focus on our community and the smaller things. Because if we do get distracted by all of this hoopla, we'll do that our entire lives. And then we'll be the individuals that are like, yeah, I remember when Hillary Clinton was running back in the day and she fucking sucked her toe. Like we're going to just be talking about unnecessary stuff at that point, rather than focusing on what is necessary, which is the communication within our community, instead of just playing these games and how the celebrities play those games. You don't have to play those games.
What the fuck is that?
Oh, you don't have to worry. It's a moth, not a wasp.
I was about to say it just.
Wasps have they have a long, skinny, stingy tail. That is a moth.
I couldn't see. It just was a bug fly.
Well, I'm sorry, her eyesight's bad. But that's it for that's it for the podcast today. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll have more content coming out. You'll have this podcast this week. So, yeah, thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.